for Twitch to sort of show me that it is in fact taking my videos. I'm also a little worried that I forgot to turn down my bit rates and such. But it looks like either it's enforcing it or that fear was unfounded. So we've got our quality options and we are ready to go. I suspect you'll probably be hearing a dishwasher in the background. I apologize. I was a little lazy in getting I was a little lazy in sort of getting some dishes done, and so I had two sets, and I was still lazy, so I decided that I would let I would let robots do my work for me. My apologies also for taking a while to get started. I'm actually struggling to find Industries of Titan. Where did you go? There is a little bit of news, which I think everybody's going to like. Actually, you know what? We can probably start with that. So now that I know it's up, I'm assuming Brace Yourself will be okay with this video being shown, but it is available on their website, which I'll put a link inside the chat for. What? YouTube has a very weird way of showing. YouTube has a very weird way of showing what's up. Anyways, there's some news for this game, and I'm going to be quiet, and I'm going to let you enjoy the news. Some of you probably already know this, but this is the big news related to Industries of Titan that came out not too long ago. Cured Charlie, thank you for stopping by. I apologize you arrived just at the time I wanted to throw some advertising at you. So credit where credit is due. Oh, hey, I can learn how to make video game hooks. This is a really good video, by the way. Credit where credit is due. That video is available right here. That's on the Brace Yourself channel. Brace Yourself obviously has got some incredibly talented people working for it across the board. But it is particularly strong in its trailers and its ability to sort of, I don't know, get you really excited for their games. Not least of which, or the smallest reason, sorry, let me work that back. The underlying games are really interesting, which is of course why it's easy to get excited for them. But I think they have really, and if you hear them talk, you can really see that they have thought about how to communicate to an audience and how to get their ideas across quite strongly. They're also very open with their knowledge. So if you've not been participating in the Discord and you are interested in developing games, I have to imagine this is probably a very valuable resource. I, again, don't have that particular perspective for myself, but it does interest me a lot to sort of hear how people who are making the games that I'm interested. Just glad to catch the screen. I'm glad to have you here, so I hope you're feeling better. But I did want to get a couple preliminaries out of the way on Titan. So and again, I apologize for the I'm getting distracted by the dishwasher now. First of all, I'm speaking very warmly of Brace Yourself Games. They are a bunch of very cool people. I've gotten a chance to interact, even if just a small way, to work with, just either submitting a bug report or something like that. Alexa and Bahar are two names that come up quite often, both incredibly nice. And I mean, given the fact that these games keep getting better, I would say very good at their jobs. Then Andy Wynn, designer on this, stops by every once in a while. I'm sure both of you know Maddie and Jared, the two community managers. We've had Sir Kama stop by, so he's responsible for sort of this really unique and interesting voxel image style. And then Ben UI on Twitter, who's responsible for the UI, put out a nice little highlight of the just some comments that I'd made about improvements that were in. And Ben's account is actually really interesting to follow because you get a good insight in terms of how, what's the best way for me to sort of put this? Like, there are things that I take for granted. So like when I sit down and I play a game and I click a button, I have an expectation about, that something's going to happen for that. And what I found really interesting about following Ben's account is that some of those posts are going to sort of start peeling away the fact that that doesn't just happen. There is no make a sensible user interface button in the Unreal Engine, at least Unreal Engine 4. Who knows what's coming in number 5, because my Twitter today has just been, I think they just released some source code or some documentation or something like that, but like people have been very excited, and understandably so. There's some really impressive technology that they've already shown off for it. But yeah, suffice to say, and obviously, so far this has been limited to the Industries of Titan team, and I of course need to recognize that there have been interactions with others, and I apologize whenever I leave out a name. Like, I don't feel good when my name gets left out on these things. These are kind of the products of a very sleepy streamer who's a little bit late getting started. So, but with that in mind, like when I communicate things about getting involved with the Discord and, it being really fun to sort of interact with the developers over the course of early access, these are some specific examples that I can give you. But there is a little bit of a double-edged sword on this, which is that it is worth mentioning that I was given a key for this game for promotional purposes. And, I'm sure I would probably feel the same way that I did had I wound up buying the game at the time. But, the fact remains is that I was ultimately given a key for this on the Epic Store. I've been streaming the game and sort of, I suppose, for lack of a better term, part of the community for a fairly long time now. And obviously that's potentially going to color the opinions, and it's important to disclose this sort of stuff. So I want to try as much as I can to sort of bracket, hey, I got a key and I'm streaming this thing for you because I got a key, which is true, right? I'm streaming this game over others because, there are plenty of games which I would be interested in streaming but haven't been given a key for, and I try to give priority to those types of games. But on the other hand, I don't want to, I don't want to come off as purely mercenary and say that there's nothing to get into this. And the reason why I'm taking the time to unpack this right now is because of that Steam announcement. I did close my Epic affiliate sort of status, partly because of the reactions that people would have in terms of buying stuff on the Epic Store. And I'm a fairly small broadcaster, right? So on the margin, I do need a certain amount of activity for a particular link to become worthwhile, and that's completely fine. Like if people vote with their wallets and say this isn't something that you're doing that I want, I need to update accordingly. But it's pretty clear that there's a bunch of people who've been able to enjoy this game really early, and then there are a bunch of people who want to play this game, and the only reason they have not been playing this game right now is because of the Epic exclusivity. That's gone as of the 21st. So in less than a month, this game will become available to you on what is probably your platform of choice. Obviously, there's others, like, I like EA Origin, for instance. I suspect that will not be coming onto EA Origin. But if you're, if you're waiting to get it on Steam, that's coming up soon. But in the end, you're going to want to know, well, do I want to play it in early access, right? There's always going to be another reason not to play this game. And I do need to tell you that I have been delighted by the early access experience of Industries of Titan. I don't always play early access games. I have noticed that some of the early access games I play have been the ones that are very memorable moments to the stream. And I wanted to communicate that sort of well in advance, particularly for those of you who maybe want to save up for a game. Obviously, not everybody's in a position where you just buy a game right away. The reason why I take the time to talk about, the people behind Industries of Titan, and again, as is always, it's unfortunately true, today, that you can't speak too broadly about people overall. I don't know if they're secretly mean in the background or whatever, but in my individual interactions with anybody involved with Industries of Titan, it's been fun not just to interact with them in general, but also to just sort of see their interest and see their ideas for this game. And this game gets a major update once a month. It's actually kind of hard for me to sometimes keep up with all of the changes because obviously I'm balancing between two games right now. So I try to play these games as much as I can, but I also spend too much time talking like this. And I wanted to stress that obviously everybody who's buying a game is going to be making sort of a decision, not just whether or not they want to buy it. And for that, you can already do a wish list. You've been able to wish list this game forever. But it's a question, do you buy it when it's freshly available? Well, I mean, this game's already been out for a year, so you can't really buy it like first thing now. But whether you want to buy it through early access or if you're thinking about getting it on a discount, the one thing that I will say, and I think this is something really interesting about the way that Brace Yourself has created this kind of this community around their game, is that to me, part of the experience of Industries of Titan is actually seeing how they have been changing things, to see how they interact with their community, participation in the Discord, and just generally I don't know if I can say that I really have, actually no, sorry, I can say I've had a hand in shaping things. There is a small change to the order of worker operations that they mentioned was in reaction to a stream that I did. So that is my minor footnote to a positive contribution to a very good game. But this is the important thing, like, it goes both ways, which is that I think that is an incredibly good reason to get this game early on. And again, keeping in mind that Brace Yourself hasn't told me to say that, but I was given a key for promotional purposes, so that sounds like promotion. But there is also a little bit that's sort of asked of you in order to achieve that. If you're not participating in the Discord, if you're not sort of following along with the game, or you're not sort of participating in that community, from my experience, you're actually missing out on a very large part of what makes this game interesting and worth following. And so, we're still a month away, maybe a little less than a month away. But I did want to just sort of say, now that we've got a date that we can talk about for a Steam release, I wanted to sort of give you my user's manual for getting the most out of Industries of Titan. And it actually has very little to do with reading tutorials and very much about the people who you will meet being a amoral capitalist. Anyways, I am going on for a little bit, so let's take a quick second here to review the roadmap. There's no new updates so far as I can tell that I've since I played this last. But just I have been spending a bunch of time talking about things that go in the game, and I am going to talk about one of these changes quite a bit. So there's a Fog of War. This has actually made the map that I'm going to be playing really interesting. And then leaderboards and time contract mode is a neat one. I actually spent some time on that. I did a pretty poor job of it last time I played, I think, actually. I'd love to do another one of these, but I want to try and do some real progress on the game that I started the last time I played. So time contract mode was a really interesting update. I was actually expecting something a little more minor, and then a new mode kind of comes out of nowhere, or well, comes out of development. But coming up, Advisor System 2.0 plus VO. Apparently, if you play the experimental branch, some of this is already in. I'm playing the base branch, which I realize is probably not very helpful for debugging and such. But I don't know. I try to. I do my best to try and keep some continuity between streams. I'm already a bit of a hack. Now, I wasn't 100% clear on what was being talked about on Titan Tuesday yesterday. Apparently, there's going to be some changes to the Rebel attack meter, and you can see that there's a change here, but I'm not 100% sure what the story is. I have a guess, but I'd rather not misinform, because of course if somebody gets really excited for something that I say and it's the opposite, that's on me. But yeah, a bunch of these ones, they're not maybe headlines like you maybe would have seen a couple of patches ago, like now you can refine minerals, which is a huge change to the game. But if you've watched a few of the Brace Yourself Titan Tuesday streams, a few of these things here, like additional engines adding speed and that, are adding a little bit more variety to the ship-to-ship combat. And this is one thing I actually haven't done too much on stream. The ship-to-ship combat's pretty cool. So we'll see if we can get some of that going on there. But suffice to say, there's still a lot going on. Now I want to make sure that... okay, so Greenheart Partners, this was, there are some very kind comments made on a factory layout I had, so I saved a file just in case somebody wanted to do these. We are Apophysis? Traders, sorry. Thanks to the high demand for custom ship designs, aeronautical engineers are one of Titan's most prestigious careers. They are followed closely by test pilots, though given the high mortality rate, it is difficult to call that role a career. And again, I apologize for the sort of scrambled start. I'm still trying to get myself, I don't know, in the right frame of mind. Now, because it's been a couple of weeks since we played this, I just want to stress... So I'm still playing on normal. I believe this is a seed, so if you want to play along, 147-882-1747. But we're doing Pioneering Terraformer, and it's been a while since I have done a Pioneering Terraformer sort of playthrough or run. I also feel like there's some changes here. Didn't I have a ship last stream? One of 0. I don't think this is the way I left it last time. Let's unpause the game and see what happens. Where'd my ship go? Okay. Right, okay, I remember this. So I turned it, that was not, there's no bug or there's no worry. This was just a, so this shipyard, ship went to a farm upstate. Yeah, so this, this ship, I got what I needed from the exploration. And so as a consequence, I put it away because, as you can see, I'm a little stretched for power. So this is one of the more interesting things that has happened on Pioneering Terraformer. Now, to a certain extent, this is known. This is the way that the game, the game sort of tells you that this is how it's going to be. But one thing that was really interesting about the Fog of War update is the fact that because you're able to now scout with ships, because I was so resource constrained, right now I'm finding Zethane/Zethane really hard to find. I'm sort of in this position where I'm scrambling and trying to get the most of my current position. I've been building a lot of these little factories specifically to pull out whatever scraps of Zethane I can. So we're going to be sort of muscling our way into this crevice. But even then, like, the layout is actually not that great for building, right? So I can't build here. If I want to build here, we've got big rocks in the way. And so it does sort of raise a question, like, am I willing to deal with the fact that I'm going to have a fuel turbine that's sort of like 2 units away from this crevice, and, you know, I'll just take what I can get? Or do I want to risk another command center so that I can try and build this thing as close as I can to a source of fuel? I mean, one thing I would point out is that let's think about how far away I'm going to be from the Zethane. Well, can't build here, so I'm going to have to build one a tile away. So here, can't build here, going to build 1 tile away. There is sort of an argument here that there's the diagonal, right? So in this case, we've got 46.24 as opposed to 40.08. But then the question is, you know, am I actually willing to impose that sort of a burden on my grid? The funny thing is that for me, the answer to that is yes. For a very simple reason. It'd be nice to actually put a highway here. Nope, I'm gonna build the... I think we're just gonna avoid roads for the next little while. And I don't know why, but I don't want to put the front door where the rebels are. So the reason I'm doing this is partly about trying to claim what I can from the from this area. But the real motivation behind what I'm doing right now is eventually we're going to make a move on this rebel camp, which we know is sort of in the area around here. And so this is actually me setting up the plan for a future takeover. Now, again, resources are scarce. I basically have, like, what I've got on the ground is sort of it. And so I need to ask, like, is it worth it for me to try and build a bigger pylon? One thing I could try and do is dismantle this one in favor of building another. So let's just see here. We can get 1, 2, 3, 4. If I remember correctly. Maybe let's just count that. 2, 3, 4. Okay, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So then we do 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so if I were to theoretically build one here. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would just tickle the edge of the empty plot. I actually like that quite a bit. So you're going to dismantle this one and move on. I am going to take a quick second here. So I might be a little more terse with the shout-outs just because the game does pause when I lose focus off of the main game. And so I don't know if there's any way of disabling it. But I did want to take a second here and say Night Valiant has already blasted through 2 wonderful indies, Subnautica and Subnautica Below Zero. I don't think I've seen what you've been playing after Subnautica. Oh no, of course I have. Horizon Zero Dawn. My apologies. But I know that Night Valiant was really looking forward to playing the new DLC for Cloudpunk. I'm looking forward to playing the new DLC for Cloudpunk too, but this is about Night Valiant. So Night Valiant's been doing some wonderful work on indie games lately. He streams a little bit later than me, so if you're looking for somebody to watch after I'm done, Night Valiant is somebody who I tend to feel pretty safe for hosting. And I don't know if you saw it. Did you see the news that this is coming to Steam next month, Night Valiant? Because I know for you that was the point where you were waiting to pick it up. So I'm going to hit play so we go on. I haven't actually explained exactly why I'm doing what I'm doing here all that well. So basically what I'm trying to do right now is all of my resources are very precious here right now. I am going to be able to get a few more from just kind of picking up what's on the ground here, but this is it at the moment. And what I'm going to need to do with these resources at some point is be able to build a mine for isotopes and minerals. Now, my preference will be to build a mine for minerals first. The reason for that is simply I can generally build things with additional minerals. I tend not to be able to build things with isotopes. I tend to be able to improve things with isotopes. So I shut down the shipyard. I'm rebuilding a few different things inside of the startup. One other thing I might be attempting as well, so if I turn off the command center, like one thing I could potentially try and do is just see the range that these different things have. So we've got, I was thinking, like, is there maybe a way that I can get rid of command center 1 and just let this command center sort of take over? Because, like, there's a little bit of wasted effort on this intermediate step. That kind of seems like a dangerous move. Oh, excellent. I'm glad to see that, Night Alien. I must have missed the retweet. We didn't name our headquarters. So there's one thing that I think is very cool that I learned just recently. So I was watching Madeline, the community manager, play this during Titan Tuesdays. And one thing that she did with her... So it's a little hard to describe exactly what's going on here. Let me just make sure that we've got a lot of level 1 minerals. And we do still have places to store them. So as you can see, I'm sort of turning off different parts of the factory depending on what I need. Right now I'm interested in processing level 2 isotopes. But let me put it to you this way. So imagine I didn't have an input module. Let's say that we had an employee module here. What Maddie did was put a isotope and a mineral input to where I've got the employee modules, and it occurred to me that I never really thought that you could do this, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So what happens here is that you build a processor, and the whole design behind this one is about making sure that kind of I've got even treatment. So I've got my isotope side, I've got my mineral side. Everybody's kind of doing their thing. Sorry, I thought that these things might have been on for some reason, but... So and in this case here, like, I built it so that I put 2 employee modules just so, in theory, you could have sort of a straight line running through from 1 to 2. Now that's completely inappropriate here because I'm really resource constrained, but that's sort of the ideal. Now, one thing that could happen would be if you put multiple inputs onto one processor. You're no longer making a decision of saying this is the isotope line, this is the mineral line. This is just something that you're able to work on constantly. I didn't think too carefully about it. I think in order to make something like that, I might have to give up a worker slot. And one of the things here is I put 2 worker slots on because the level 2 processor is a bit slower, and so I try to keep the pace up. But like right now, there's a bunch of resources just sitting around. Like, speed is not my major concern here. So another thing that she did that I really liked was it was to put down 3 waste receptacles, and I think there was sort of 1 in the middle and 1. There's like 2 on the bottom, and I think there was like 1 in the middle. There was a way. I think you can turn around a waste module and that way you kind of get past the blocking problem. But in reality here, like, this is the part that really frustrates people, and I think it's glorious. Okay, let's upgrade the pylon. I do actually need to be a little more timely on this. The reason why I'm trying to get all of this done right now... oh, crumbs. The reason I'm trying to get all of this done right now is because if I don't come up with a solution for my fuel, I'm going to get into some serious trouble soon. Oh, those rebels might be coming for my ship. That's why I wasn't going to build that. Okay, no, that's fine, because our command center will probably be able to take them out. Okay, I've got... This is going to be really risky. It's going to cost me 18, so I'm going to upgrade that. I need to make sure that I keep enough isotopes around to fill what I'm trying to get done. How are we for level 2 minerals? 29. So I am eventually going to want to build a fuel turbine. That's going to require 200 construction units. So it's probably not a bad idea for me to... And we've got an enemy attack coming in. Oh, power station 2. That's not what I'm looking for. The Grand Factory. I've not quite learned to to use this very helpful feature yet. So I think the time has come. Oh, has it though? I'm trying to think how I can balance my needs isotope and minerals wise. Because I do need somebody working on minerals at some point. And it'd be nice to have like a constant stream of level 1 minerals being worked on. How are we for isotopes? Okay, we've got like no level 2 being worked. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to shut down the isotope refining. We're going to re-enable the minerals. So I should have been working on this earlier, but all right, I missed one. There we go. And let's be clear, like, as soon as this thing goes online, there's going to be a huge power problem. That's going to cost me all my ice. Okay, let's get the pylon up first. Citizen died. Still making money? We are. The pylon's important because we wouldn't be able to power the command center. Level 3 command center is nice, but we're going to be able to get what we need from the rocks. We're getting close to my cap for the council, but my my aim here is to my aim here is to use the influence to try and buy up as much of the rebel territory as possible. So yeah, the thing that I think made this start really interesting was the idea that because the fog of war has been introduced inside of the game here, and I was resource constrained, particularly as far as fuel is concerned, it motivated me to build a shipyard probably a little bit earlier than I would normally have made it. So that I could sort of scout around and find find places to build fuel turbines, so that I would be able to sort of build up my infrastructure, like to get it to a point where I feel like I'm able to accomplish my goals. Right now, I've been trying to like turn things on and balance my energy. And we're getting close to a point where we're simply not going to be able to run the generators that we're operating with. I might even go so far as to make like a temporary, another temporary extractor. If I look here, so we're at 22, 19. Yeah, so there's like a couple of 29 slots that I might be able to work with. Okay. I'm just going to pause here for a second because you can see, like, this thing's already online, right? So we've got We got some decisions to make. Now, this is why I wanted to try and get the Rebel the command center to level 2, right? Because I can't claim the Rebel shipyard. I'm so close to getting that Rebel HQ, but it's not quite where it needs to be. Although I can disable or dismantle this energy pylon, so that'll give me a little bit resource-wise. But for now, let's just claim what we can from the rebels. I don't think, yeah, turret's not in range, so this is the only one that we could sort of take. These are actually quite expensive in the current form. And this tells me why I wasn't considering. This tells me why I wasn't considering this territory for the fuel. So let's just take a quick second here. So this would get me 4648 and 4090. Okay, nope. Building it long like this would still work. It's a little close to the rebels, but it's not just a risk I'm willing to take. It's kind of a risk I have to take. And I believe if I turn off this command center, they're still gonna fill the. They're still gonna actually do the job. Show them the power of aggressive real estate. Oh yeah, we should pick, let's say... I want to call it Office Complex, but... Ooh. They like Moonlight as a... as like a... low cost housing. Alright, let's watch some of the little animations here. So this is how they get rid of... rocks. And we got a little bit of minerals and waste for our efforts. Cool. So again, those aren't really going to be helpful to me until I can turn them into useful resources. Now, I don't have 200 minerals yet. We're getting close, but we're not quite there. I'm debating as to whether or not I want to try and build a factory for some intermediate power needs, or if I want to roll the dice and build and assume that I'm going to build 2 minerals in time. Let's do a quick tour of my power stations. Beautiful, isn't it? Okay, so all my power is on. I wonder if it's as easy as building another fabricator. Normally that hasn't worked well for me in the past, but... Nope, let's resist the temptation. Okay, so I gotta turn this thing on. This is gonna cause a countdown of doom. Please tell me I've... Oh no! Okay, I made a big mistake here. Look how many red artifacts I have. Look how much a fuel turbine costs. Oh. All right. So we went really aggressive on the... on claiming that territory. But... This is what I get for not not playing this game for a little while. Okay, that's fine. We're still gonna work through what we've been thinking about. So we are going to turn off Vanguard Estates. Now, this is going to take longer than I was planning. It's obvious that that's the case. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch my attention to a factory. So at this point, it's kind of forced my hand. I am going to need to build another source for fuel. And in this case, I'm actually going to make something that's specifically built for fuel. It's not even going to generate energy. So let's stick you here for now. Actually, you know what? Let's see if we can just pull a little bit more out of these power stations by building additional... I have a feeling that this is going to be counterproductive. I think that's just going to pull more zethane out of the atmosphere than I can handle. But honestly, like, is that such a bad thing? Like, I can make do with like this. We're playing hyper-capitalist. Of course we're going to make short-term decisions that aren't in our long-term interests. Like, as long as we can just pull out enough fuel to keep the lights on while we do our mining, it should be fine. Also, the importance of upgrading this base just got quite a bit higher. So let's see. We've got the minerals that we need now. I'm actually going to turn off the tier 1 factory for the time being. I'm hitting P for the power, by the way. If you want to know a hotkey for something, just mousing over, it'll be in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'm not processing my tier 1 minerals right now. That's not great, but right now I'm looking for these refined minerals anyway. Okay. Looks like that didn't help the fuel drain at all. Well, it helped it a little bit. Alright. +3? Oh. I may start getting used to such luxury. Oh, come on. Alright. Man, okay. Well, it's really clear that I need my fuel turbines. I can build a factory. Maybe I do just build a factory where the fuel turbine should be while I deal with the rebels. Yep. I kind of like to imagine all the rebels just glaring at the people who sold the territory to us. I mean, I suppose we can at least extract this for resources right now, but clearly I wanted the artifacts out of that. Okay. I'm gonna let my fuel move up a little bit before I... So, here's what I'm thinking about right now. I've got... So, I want to have my fuel and my energy reserves sort of at peak. My goal right now is to just get a more reliable source of fuel, and that's building a fuel turbine close to the crevice. I can't do that because I am 1 red artifact short of where I need to be. And the way that I could get a red artifact would be to build a command center to start claiming these ruins. But a command center is going to require power. It's also going to require the resources to build the command center, and of course, my highest priority would be to put down a fuel turbine as soon as I can. I mean, obviously, I can't put down the fuel turbine until I get the artifact. So, the question is, well, like, what is it? Is it really going to cost you so much? Like, if you can just actually, yeah, that's a pretty reasonable argument. Like, so a command center is going to cost me. Yeah, 200 mineral CU. So when I'm eventually able to build this fuel turbine, dismantling this command center will be sufficient. So here you go. Changed my mind. So we're going to take advantage of a nice little choice that they made here, which is you just need to have power adjacent to each other. And we're going to put down this command center. This command center exists for one reason only, which is to exploit as many of these ruins as possible. I mean, eventually I'll put something more permanent in place, but the way it's currently set up, what do these cost? 2, not likely. Should probably just turn on the auto at this point. I almost made a big mistake there. Well, not like a huge mistake. I could have just dismantled it, but... Okay. Now, for the Rebel attack, I have decided to go for a ship-based strategy. One, because that'll be a nice way for me to show off the ships. But number 2, it's actually ships I haven't done a whole lot, and so my ship designs are pretty appalling as well. So there's a nice little, opportunity to force myself to learn on this. But there's also a slightly more practical consideration, for me at least, which is I can move ships, and in an environment where I'm really resource constrained on Pioneering Terraformer, having the ability to make the most of your resource. So, like, let's think about... So assuming we could build a defense turret in the first place, which we can't, we're looking at 400 in mineral CUs and then 8 in terms of isotopes. I don't remember what it cost. You know what? It's not going to tell me what it cost because I have got it disabled. But I'm willing to guess that probably the cost of sending out a new ship is going to be less than 400 minerals. And I'm going to be able to move it all over the place. Now, again, is the firepower going to be as good as a fully upgraded turret? Probably not. But on the other hand, given that I'm going to have to sort of sprawl out and claim resources where I can find them, the turret coverage that I need is going to be a lot more... Like, it's going to be a lot more demanding in terms of my grid, in terms of my... like, just... getting them where they need to be, right, is going to be that's going to be a pretty considerable undertaking. So I don't know if they're specifically designed this way, but I feel like Pioneering Terraformer definitely is something a little bit more friendly to a large navy, or at the very least a navy. And then I would say the fact that you need to scout for resources with the addition of the Fog of War, one, I love that change, or at the very least, like, I've definitely felt more resource constrained than I ever have before on this one here, and Fog of War was a way that I was able to solve it. Again, I think I can be cheap and disable the command center. Supervisors showed up for one day to tell people to go where to work, and never showed up again. We're gonna have to turn it on again to claim, but other than that, we should be fine. By the way, this is not a claim that I think the game should be this way. This is just me taking advantage of the way the game currently is. So I'm treating this like I don't need any of the resources inside of these ruins. We've got access to a mineral node. We've got access to an isotope node. As soon as we're able to power them with additional, basically when we get the fuel to create the additional energy, we will be able to set those up and get everything running go. I also want to be mindful of my influence because the hope is that I'm going to be able to upgrade my, yeah, not even close. Oh, ZX and beside each other. That's a really nice little... It's a really nice little choice to have those. I'm sure I'm going to wind up making mistakes as to which one I extract. I'm sorry, if you can just give me a second here. There's a phone message. Sorry about that. That was a particularly good, like, spam call. It sounded like something that was related to the census, so I was like, oh, I thought I did my census. But, yeah. My apologies. Okay, so we should have our red art. Yeah, we are ready to go artifact-wise. What do I need for the turbine again? Oh, wow, we've actually overproduced isotopes-wise. That's a fun problem to have. I think I'm actually willing to wait it out here. Because they should be bringing that isotope in, and if I want, I can actually force them in the. I can force them through the move resources. Looks like they're already working on it though. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to dedicate one person to moving isotopes. I could have just adjusted them, but I figure I only need the one, so then I can sort of let the AI take care of everything else once that's set up. I can't believe we didn't. We'll claim it preemptively, but. So for this, I think I'm willing to... I've got what I need, right? So I think I'm willing to dismantle this little forward base so that we can focus on expanding out here. Now, I have like a rough recollection in terms of where the other bases were. I think what I'm going to wind up doing is I'm going to take the ship out for a another scouting drive just to see where the bad guys are. One thing that I will note is that it's pretty clear that there's more Zethane over here if you just take a look at sort of where stuff's being generated. So once we've sort of once we're a little more secure in terms of our power generation, I'm going to expand out over here. But that's a later consideration. Okay, let's focus. Okay, extract you. And then here, I think I'm ready to just straight up dismantle these. Okay, this one gets power. What? Lies! Oh. So there is a worry here that the Freedom K1 is gonna come after us. So I'm gonna put even more straight. Actually, I'm gonna turn off Vanguard Estates for now. I'll turn on the shipyard just long enough to launch this thing again. This actually looks kind of cool when you're in the ship. I'm getting. Sorry guys, I am seeing some really weird stuff on Twitch. I don't actually know if I'm live right now. It looks like all of the frames are currently dropping. Okay, I don't know if you're still able to see me. It looks like I seem to be fine. Please let me know if anybody can give a verification if it's working, or it seems to be frozen. See me now? Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. I just saw a bunch of... I'm gonna guess. So I'm gonna guess you're gonna have a bit of a delay, Night Valian. So I'm gonna say the word potato, and if the game is not moving while I say potato, please let me know, because what I see here indicates that the game should be ready to go. So far as I can tell, this is a problem that I have. Okay, yeah. Sorry about that. I don't believe that's something that was created by Industries of Titan. Oh, I have a feeling it's gonna freeze again. This seems like something's happening with my internet, and I don't want to cut the stream if I have to. Oh God, are we really? Oh my God! Who's driving the ship? Okay, unfortunately, Night Valian, there seems to be a very, very big stream delay between us, so it's gonna, I'm almost certain that it's gonna freeze for you again, and unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to diagnose that because it seems like there's about a minute delay. I may have to take the stream down because I have a feeling that this is going to be frustrating for everybody involved. So I'm going to give it a few more minutes. Essentially, all that I'm going to do here, assuming that people can hear me, I'm going to take a few minutes to just get the ship back in where it needs to be, basically. Let's add 6 employees. This is probably good to know. So I didn't realize that I had launched the... I didn't realize that I'd launched the ship without crew. Apparently you can actually steer the ship without crew, which is kind of amazing. Okay, and it looks like this isn't getting any better. So I am going to take a second here. I'm just going to full on take down the stream and come back. I'm going to reset my computer. I'm going to run a test because right now I've got an upload of about 700 kilobytes. And that's no way to run a stream. So I'm sorry for this. The video's probably been pretty crummy, but I know this is the point where people are going to be going away. So I will be back. I'd love it if you'd stick around, but I am going to take a minute here and do some proper diagnostics. So I'll see you guys in a little bit.